Wow. All right. And just this side note, former President Trump commented on his social media platform yesterday about the Biden administration's decisions to send tanks to Ukraine. Trump wrote in one post, "First come the tanks, then come the nukes. Get this crazy war ended now." So easy to do. Sounds so much like Vladimir Putin. And also, I remember he asked a lot of questions really early on about using nukes and whether or not he could use them. In a later post, he wrote in all caps, "If I were president, the Russia-Ukraine war would never have happened. But even now, if president, I would be able to negotiate an end to this horrible and rapidly..." Okay, you know what? Somebody's reporting that he's losing his grip on reality. We'll get to that in a moment. He's also losing his top supporters, people who do know a little bit about foreign policy. In an interview with CBS News, Trump's one-time former national security advisor, John Bolton, called him a national security threat.
I think Republicans, especially after the November 8 elections last year, see that he's poisoned to the ticket. He cannot be elected president. If he were the Republican nominee, he would doom our chances to get a majority in the Senate and the House. I don't think he's going to be the Republican nominee. I worry about the danger he can cause.
Is Trump a threat to national security?
I think he is. I believe that the damage he did during his term was significant but repairable. I strongly opposed him getting a second term because I worried that what he would do in a second term might be irreparable.
It's fair to say you continue to think about jumping in the 2024 presidential race, haven't made a decision, but it is something you are seriously considering?
That's exactly right.
And now to that comment about grip on reality. Conservative columnist Charles C.W. Cook has a new piece for National Review entitled "Trump Has Completely Lost His Grip on Reality." He writes in part this: "Let's check in on the shadow primary for the 2024 Republican nomination. Nikki Haley is putting together a finance committee. Mike Pompeo has just published a book. Governor Ron DeSantis has continued to pick winning fights in Florida. And then there's Donald Trump, who, despite being the only candidate who has officially announced his bid, is, well, ranting like a deranged hobo in a dilapidated public park. Throughout his public career, Trump has resembled nothing so much as a drunken talk radio caller from Queens. And on Truth Social, readers get the treat of watching him at the zenith of his rhetorical powers. He can make numbers up. He can make numbers up off the top of his head. He can use hyperbolic analogies. He can do anything, that is, except focus on the world outside, where the problems that Donald Trump once used to propel himself into the White House remain real and pressing, whether or not he chooses to engage with them. Eugene, I doubt you disagree with this.
No.
And I think John Bolton talking about the danger that Trump poses to this country is a step. A number of other top Republican leaders need to follow. I mean, especially given the totality of what we're looking at on this show today, what we're remembering, where Joe is. You know, the big lie is a dangerous thing.
It certainly is. Yet we are concerned about whether the Congress, with its current makeup, with the Republican majority in the House, will continue to support the brave Ukrainian people who are fighting for their freedom, who are fighting on the front lines. Again, imagine if Donald Trump had been president when this war started. Imagine where we would be now. We would not be where we are. We'd be in a much worse place, I think. And he is a national security threat. He was a national security threat as president. He would be a national security disaster were he ever to be elected president again. And the one question I have about the piece that we cited is, what's new about it? I mean, he's been ranting like a deranged hobo in a dilapidated park for a long, long time. And many, many people have responded to that and follow his rantings. He's still the most powerful figure in one of our two major political parties. one hopes that power is finally waning, one hopes that influence is finally waning, and we can see the light at the end of this tunnel, but we're certainly not out of it yet. And so, if he's the only announced candidate right now, he's the front runner for the nomination, and we'll have to see how this works out.